Hey everyone, it's Kelsey here, and today we are going to be doing a science experiment which I hope you guys love. It's super interesting. It literally takes two household ingredients, vinegar and milk, and what we will be doing today is trying to turn milk into plastic. So I would love for you guys to join along, and hopefully you guys are super interested in this. Make sure you have some parental assistance. Parents, work with your kids, and let's see how much fun we can have today. So the first thing that we are going to need is a basic pot, just a pot that we can warm the milk up in. And we don't want to boil it or make it scalding hot. We just want to warm it. And for you kids that haven't used a stove or anything yet, just ask your parents for some help. Okay, obviously a spoon to stir it. We will need approximately 4 tablespoons of vinegar. So you can just pre-measure it into something like this and have it ready to go. We are going to need 2 cups of milk. Now, whatever milk you guys have on hand will work. So if it's 2%, 1%, homo milk, buttermilk, it all works the same. The only difference is the more fat content you have, so like your homo milk, will produce more of the plastic actually. So here we go. And then we want to have a bowl, we want to have a strainer, and then we want to have some paper towels so that we can dry the plastic when it's done after it has separated. So the first step that we do in this experiment is heat our milk. Just making sure not to burn it or scald it, and we don't really want it to get to the boiling point, we just want to warm it. So for you children that do not know how to use a stove yet, just ask your mommy or dad to help you, and they can help monitor this, and then we can get on to our next step. So just make sure it's nice and warm. Okay, now my milk is warm, and we are now going to add the 4 tablespoons of vinegar, and we will see what happens. As you can see, what is happening is there is a protein in milk called casein, and when you actually add vinegar to it, it becomes insoluble. Normally it is soluble, but when you add vinegar and acid, it becomes insoluble. So now what we have is plastic, or the beginnings of it. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Okay guys, so now we have our separated milk, which is the protein casein, and we have our bowl, we have a strainer, and what we are going to do now is strain it. So let's see what happens. There we go. What do you guys think? Wow. So now when we strain this, we have what they would call normally, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of curds and whey. That's exactly what that is. That is curds. Those are the curds, and this is the whey. So yeah, let's get started making this into some plastic. And just in case you guys were wondering where curds and whey, it's like, oh, where have I heard that before? That comes from an old nursery rhyme. Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey. Well, this is exactly what curds and whey is. There are your curds, there is your whey. So that is exactly what that is. Just a little bit of trivia for you guys. Okay, so now what I have a paper towel, and I'm going to take what was separated from my strainer right here, and I'm going to try to squeeze out as much as I can. There we go. Oh, it's so warm. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of flatten it And I'm gonna put it on a paper towel here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to strain as much of the water out as possible, because we want this to be as dry as possible before we start kneading it into the shapes that we want. So use a paper towel, or I mean, if you guys don't have paper towel, you can use a dishcloth that your mom lets you use. Just make sure she puts it in the laundry right away, because it'll probably start smelling a little sour after a while. I'm going to grab another one. Okay, and there we go. And we will do this again. And just try to soak some of that water in to the paper towel. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. There we go. I think that should do it. And now, there we have the beginning of our plastic, and it is kneadable. Look at that. We can make it into whatever shape we want. And that is from milk. Okay, so I am now just kneading the plastic and I have chose just a basic heart shape. So you guys can choose whatever you want. You can choose butterflies at Christmas. You can do Christmas trees. You can do Easter eggs. You can do whatever you want. You can choose absolutely anything. You can flatten it out. You can make it into balls for beads, like for a necklace or jewelry. You can do whatever you guys want. It is absolutely kneadable at this point. So we can knead it into any shape we want. So for now, I'm just going to show you guys a basic heart shape. So I'm going to flatten it out. And then I'm going to put the heart on it. There we go. And I'm going to cut. And what I'm going to do now is just because I want it a little thicker, I'm just gonna throw these extra pieces into the shape. So I'm gonna grab those and I'm just gonna put them into the shape. Just to show you guys what you can do. You can pretty much do anything you want. Be as creative as you can possibly be. I know how creative you guys are, so I would love to see what you guys come up with. Okay, there we go. So I'm just showing you guys a basic shape of how you can mold it. Okay. And there we go. There is our heart. We have just molded a plastic heart. Now, it is still wet, so what we need to do is leave it for a day or two. Obviously, the thinner it is, or the thicker it is, the longer it will take to dry. So if it's thinner, it won't take as long. So see what you guys can come up with. So if you guys are curious and wondering about the science behind this experiment that we just did, there is a molecule, a protein molecule in milk, which is called casein. It is soluble in water. And one of these molecules is called a monomer. And when you add an acid to it, such as vinegar, like you guys just saw, it becomes what's called a polymer, because you have a whole bunch of these protein molecules that are now insoluble coming together to create a polymer. And that's where you guys saw this big ball of milk plastic that we ended up creating. Now, interesting enough, between 1900 and 1945, this is the main way that they made plastic. They made it for forks and knives, buttons, brush and comb sets, plates, jewelry, and actually, interesting enough, a lot of the royalty wore plastic jewelry made out of milk plastic, and it's actually called casein plastic, is what they actually called it. So a little bit of trivia for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this experiment. I want to see what you guys have created. Hopefully, maybe you can make some jewelry and show me, and you know, come up with some amazing creative ideas, and send them to me. Send them to Facebook Messenger, and we will showcase these ideas that you guys come up with. We are so excited to see them. Have fun, guys. I just also wanted to remind you guys to wait a couple days. It usually takes about 2 or 3 days for it to really harden. So give it a couple days and then let's see what you can come up with. And just a little extra tip, if you want, you can add a little bit of food coloring into the milk mixture while it's on the stove warming up. And that just adds a little extra color to your guys' creations. And I'll make sure to show you guys my creations at the end too. I am sure they won't be as creative or interesting as yours. I'm not as crafty as you guys are, but I'm gonna do my best and I'm going to try and see what I can come up with. So again, have fun creating and we will see you soon. Bye.